Hey, hello, welcome. Welcome to another wonderful leadership conversation with Lorlett Hudson and Monwara Ali. So I'm Monwara Ali. I talk about leadership. I'm a champion of leadership and an advocate of leadership. For those of you who don't know me yet, I am a coach and a consultant, as well as a CEO, director, and many other things. My work is around empowering women in every way possible, and that is done through my work in the UK as well as my work in Bangladesh. So I'm here with my lovely companion and friend. Over to you, Lorlett.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to one of our fantastic calls, conversation. Trailblazing leadership. That's who we are. Monwara and I are on a mission to make a difference. Leadership is everything. And the great writer John Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. And it's so true. I wish they would teach more leadership curriculum in schools to enable young people to know the importance of accountability and self leadership. So, yeah, leadership for me is like breathing, talking, and understanding. Because the whole thing about leadership is that you drive things, you make things happen. You say, let's go, let's make this happen. And what is it like to be around people that say, let's go, let's do, instead of I can't? The energy, the buzz. This week I had the opportunity, to be yesterday actually, to be at the High Commissioner residence in Jamaica, preparing for the diaspora conference. Imagine 800 people actually registered for this conference from all over the world, and they're all trailblazers, people who live in different parts of the diaspora who are doing great things, and whoever instigate this idea, this bold idea that people should come together and look at the bold ideas around doing businesses in Jamaica and also, making a difference. We don't hear about this very often, but it's true. There's so many people out there want to make a difference, and to be in that room with those trailblazers, it's amazing. You realize that when you're on your path, what you then do is meet other people as well who is on that journey. And it's interesting because it just gives you that energy. I'm so excited about leadership because when you're in a room with people who wants to make a difference, it really spurring you on. And it's not like, oh my God, I got this highfalutin dream that's just seem impossible. You are with other people who are doing, and that drives you. So that's me.
Fantastic. And I would describe it in two words. This is leadership for me: forward movement. Not how fast you go or how slow you go, but forward movement, progress. And
Momentum.
yeah,
Momentum. Yeah,
and
momentum.
that's why this space that we've created, Lorlette, on Saturdays, I mean, for people who will be listening or watching the replay, it's a learning space. And both Lorlette and I have been in the leadership space for years. She's been running her business, and that takes something. I've been very passionate about leading communities and have been in the youth work and charity space for 30 plus years. And what we are doing on Saturdays is giving back, creating this learning space. But I have to say, Lola, I take back so much from here. And I myself learn. And what I find incredibly inspiring about these Saturdays is the fact that, in a way, even though we're meant to be like just we have a topic and we know what we're going to say, it's the fact that we make space for thinking. I see you thinking and you see me thinking, and between the two of us, we are relearning, unlearning, and hopefully inspiring others to do the same. So, hopefully, when we meet Veronica later on, she's going to join us today, that Veronica is going to tell us about her own experience and somebody will take away from there. How do you conquer a mountain? How do you conquer a mountain on a personal level? Then how do you also conquer a mountain as a team? And there's two different things to be learnt, and shared about those experiences. So I'm really, really fascinated to understand her experience. But Lorlette, your experience yesterday, so you were at the Jamaican High Commissioner's venue
Resident.
residence, and you met like so many people. Did you meet any common connections?
Yeah, from London, you had Nathaniel Pitt, you had Claudine Reed, you got some many other people as well, but those two trailblazers, I mean, they were known in terms of Nathaniel and Claudine. I've been to several conferences and I've heard them speak, but, I think I have met Nathaniel a couple of times in passing. But I had the opportunity to spend time with him and actually hear him share his vision. Claudine Reed, I think she's been running a business now for nearly 30 years, and it's really interesting to be in the room. You read about these things and you hear about these things. Who you surround yourself with is really important. But as you've got on this journey yourself, you realize, oh shit, why do you do this?
It's Lolette. Apologies. I think we had a bleep in our technicalities today. Hopefully, Lorlett will join us soon. And so it's really interesting to hear Lorlett talk about the connections that we have, I guess, with a lot of people online. We don't always meet face to face. So Lorlett is in Jamaica at the moment. She spends a lot of her time in Jamaica and between Jamaica and London. Um, so we've been doing this live streaming every Saturday, UK London time, 11 a.m. And we do this across two different countries, which means two different times as well. And that says a lot about commitment. You have to be really committed to be putting in the time to join a live at Jamaican time, 3 a.m., I think. And so I guess I'm really incredibly appreciative and grateful that Lorlett does make that effort. But again, there is going to be times when, in these kind of complex and innovative ways of doing things, that we are going to come across some stumbling blocks, and technical difficulties is going to be a very, very common one. So I'm going to wait to see if Lorlette will join us again soon. I think she's having some difficulty with her internet. But meanwhile, continue talking about creating spaces and being in spaces where you have people that energize you. So, being in a space like the diaspora movement that Lorlette spoke about in Jamaica is a really great opportunity to meet other people, people that are on your mental wavelength, people that will, in a lot of ways, support you and your growth and your learning. It helps because what then that does is enable you to connect with the right people. And there's a power that you feel in knowing that you have other people that are also in the same place. Welcome back, Lole.
This is Jamaica love. Oh man, you could be here 1 minute and the Wi-Fi goes or the electric goes or whatever. So what can I say?
Yeah,
Unpredictability, but it happens.
yeah, and I'm still swimming.
Of course, we're still swimming. That's why they say it's good to do things in pair as a couple. So one fails, the other one kicks in. We're here for each other. Amazing.
Fantastic. And that is all about capacity. How do we build capacity? More of us.
Exactly.
Multiply, duplicate, just keep building that ship.
All
And we've
about teamwork. Was it teamwork together? The dream works.
Yes.
They reckon, yes. So yeah, are we waiting for Veronica now, or are we gonna
Veronica's
go for?
here. She's going to be joining us any second now. Veronica,
Okay.
so excited to have you. Thank you.
Hello,
Hello.
hello, 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 hello.
Oh, I wish I was there
Team
with you in
spirit.
Jamaica.
Of course, you're coming. You're joining me, aren't you?
Yes,
You're
that's the
coming.
next trip,
Coming.
Monwara, right?
High
Oh
five.
my goodness. So, Veronica, how you doing?
Whew, it's been not a hectic morning, but quite, a bit chaotic with the kids getting them ready and all that. But I can now breathe, so I'm here.
Good. Yeah. So I'm in Jamaica at the minute, and yesterday I had the opportunity to go to the British High Commissioner's office, and I was saying to residents actually. So I was saying to Monwara that you read these things, you hear these
Mm,
things about who you surround yourself with is really important. And you can read in a theoretical way, but when you're actually in a room with, 8 or 9 trailblazers who are like Nathaniel Pete, Claudine Reed, and so many others, you feel to yourself, wow, the dream can become a reality because there are people that look like me and actually doing it. It's not just theory, it's practical, everyday experience in that sense. And it just is so rewarding to hear these stories, not just a talk show. People are actually saying, I want to develop a multi-billion-pound company. And you sit in that room and you think, oh, so my dream is not really that big. It's not that big after all. There's people who are doing bigger things, So welcome to the call, Veronica. I know you are a
thank
big
you.
thinker and you're up to big things. And one of the things, a question I'd like to ask you is really what you passionate about. What you passionate about, really passionate about.
When you peel all the layers, like literally, if you peel all the layers of the labels, like everything, and you get to the very core, I'm passionate about really inspiring, empowering, and transforming lives. It boils down to that. Everything over all the years have all branched out, but the root and the stem of it all is the inspiration, the empowerment, and the enabling, the transformation of lives. Because I think we need more of that in the world. We've lost our ways. I've personally been there before in that dark pitch, hole, feeling trapped, but recognizing that I am the light in that darkness from the light within me. And shining that light in that darkness is the only way out of the tunnel. So when it comes to the core of it all, I'm passionate about inspiring, enabling, empowering, transforming lives in whatever shape or form that comes about. So there's not just one way. I do many things that branch out of that root. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just finding out, just asking that one question. And the good thing about being a coach is questioning. I mean, I asked
Mm-hmm.
you one question, what you're passionate about. And within that space of time, you are able to give me such a big picture of who you are from your core, from your roots to what drives you in that sense. And this is why I said, as a trailblazer, it's really asking questions, questions of yourself, questions of other people, questions of your environment. And that gives you the insight about the difference you want to make,
Yes.
and it's so powerful. One more
Monwara is a great question asker. She asks questions when we are at the mountain. Always, she'd gather everyone together. Okay, so what have we learned? What was the insight? What did you experience? And she is a powerful question person as a coach as well. Trailblazer, you are, Monwara.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the skill because
Mm,
we don't want to make assumptions. We really
yeah,
don't want to make
yes.
assumptions around anything.
Mm,
And it's always great to ask the questions, So yeah, that's the key is the questioning. The answer
mm,
is in the question all the time. Right. Next question. Tell me a great book that you have read that
mhm.
really inspired that you think I should read.
Yes, yes. So the first book that I always share about that truly opened the gateway to where I am today was the book by Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God. Funny enough, it's nothing religious as such, but certainly spiritual, where it means transcending into all areas of yourself and asking questions and expose the truth through those questions, where you get curious and start learning and start, that journey of self-discovery. So if anybody is kind of lost, asking questions, why am I in this state? Why is this happening to me? Right? What is this about? What is the purpose? What's my life even about? Why am I even here? All those questions that I was asking myself when I found myself, losing totally everything to my name, was that book, Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, and I think he has three parts of the whole book now. So I'd certainly recommend that one. It was a breakthrough for me.
And the great idea of asking that question is getting to know who you are. Be interested in people. And this is what I said to people, when you meet another person, it's not about you in any shape or form. It's learning from that person. So, you develop the questioning in terms of finding out. So, my next question to you before we go to the mountain climbing is, tell me
Okay.
somebody who you met that inspired you, that you learned so much from that person that you really want me to meet them.
I want you to meet my dad. I wish you'd meet my dad, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, my mom and my dad have played vital roles. Um, but certainly, if answering the question in one specific person as at now, would certainly be my dad, because he instilled these traditional principles. He was a very principled man. I grew up with a fusion of European and African upbringings, because my mom is from Poland and my dad is from Ghana. But my mom having lived in Ghana for the past 55 years now, and also me being brought up in that environment, that was the dominant, of course, culture that I was infused into. So my dad being a traditionalist, a traditional Ashanti man, he was the head of the family, back in Kumasi. He um, he really showed me what it meant to have a positive mental attitude in life, but also instilled what it means to be proud of yourself without being arrogant. He was a very proud Ashanti man, I'm telling you. And he always shared the story that I always love to share, because I know it will make a big difference in whoever hears this, of the time when he was in Poland, because that's where he was sent to by the government, the Ghanaian government, to extend his some stuff. He'd had a scholarship, so he was studying there for a while to come back to Ghana and bring those skills back to Ghana. So he met my mom there. But anyways, of course, as a young African in Poland back in the early 60s, you can imagine they were not used to that. So I always remember the story of him in the pub where he went with a friend. And of course, in the pub, we say, like to drink sometimes. And this man, who was not quite himself, approached my dad and says, "Hey, ty Murzin, wracaj do swego kraju, ty brudasze." In Polish, that means, you're so dirty. And my dad did not get angry. He did not get upset. He did not get offended. He laughed, he smiled at the man and said, "Listen, bring that white napkin. Wipe your hand on that white napkin and then tell me who's dirty." The man was speechless. It just showed that story just always stays with me, because it reminds me that I choose what I'm angered by, and I have the power to be offended or not. And if I'm offended by something that somebody says, that of course tells a lot about me. And that has taught me not to be easily offended. There are some things that irritate me naturally. I'm always a work in progress. But there are certain things from that story. My dad wasn't offended. He actually knew that it was a mindset thing, it was an ignorance thing, and he was no way going to bring himself down to that level to have an argument about who's dirty when he knows for a fact that is not the truth. So I'd love for you to meet my dad.
Yeah, definitely. Because, it's important. Because it's like me and my grandmother. My grandmother, her philosophy, her wisdom. I've read many learning and development books, personal development books. I've gone on many courses. But when I really sit back, her point of view of the world is tied up in all these books. Every lessons, every training program, every courses I've gone on, and I go back to my grandmother's wisdom.
Mm.
It's there definitely. She was a visionary, And when I decided to create the things Mama used to say, Proverbs cards, 20 years ago this year, right? You have to think of a people who came from different parts of Africa and basically, not speaking English. And they create a language of their own to be able to communicate with each other effectively. And historically, that language is seen as these people were dumb, they were stupid. But the reality of life is to understand that you will do what it takes in order to thrive. And you will string whatever sentences you need to string together in order to communicate with each other. So, take for example that story about your dad going to Poland. It's a prime example. It's a new culture for him, and how do you thrive there? How do you understood? So as far as he's concerned, he understood what this man was trying to do. And with his wisdom and his intellect, he actually said, I'm not going to get upset around it. So I can see where your passion for trailblazing came along, in understanding your roots, and how you take yourself on. You cannot be in that environment with a mom and dad from the 60s, two different cultural backgrounds, and, making a decision to be together and be in a relationship and make it work. I mean, even me as a black person going to Ghana, I would struggle in certain arenas because I don't understand the language in certain aspects. People might speak English, but there's still certain cultural norms that I am not familiar with, and just because I'm black, that doesn't make it any easier for me than a white person in a sense, there's still things I'm going to struggle with. So, bearing in your background, Veronica, and I'm really passionate about what you told me about your dad, and hear about it, inspired by that. At what defining moment did you decide to yourself that you're going to start climbing your own mountains, and take yourself on?
Oh, I was standing in front of this pawnbroker's shop and about to sell some precious belongings that were very close to my heart. But there was no other option. At least that's what it seemed like in that moment. In that moment, I was at the bottom of whatever mountain I was about to climb. I was in the valleys, like in the trenches. And it was in that moment that I always say about the voice that I really heard and the whispers, really like, Veronica, this is not you. This is not the life you want. These are the kind of choices you want to be making. What are you doing with your life? And these are the questions that I had to answer: what I wanted, who am I, right? What do I want to create in my life? Who do I want to be? And that's the mountain. That's the building blocks, the rocks or the boulders that make that mountain that I had to climb. And after that moment in that pawnbroker shop over now 10 years ago, I've climbed. It's been full of emotions, tears. Just it's sometimes a lonely journey. I have to be honest. Embarking it on my own because becoming eventually a single mom of two, and coming out from an emotionally abusive environment is a lonely journey. Let me be honest. It's quite a lonely, but you also need to be conscious to surround yourself with people that are on a similar journey, that have gone through the fiery explosions of life also. And then that's where, of course, LinkedIn came in. I just felt I needed a place to share everything that I've been learning, because I've been learning for quite a while. I've already been on that journey before I came on LinkedIn. I already embarked on that personal growth journey way before LinkedIn. So I felt that there was so much within me. It's like the body could not contain what my mind and my spirit wanted to say. It was like, where can I shout whatever? My parents, my mom, my sisters, like Veronica, like they listen to me, but then there's only a limit to how much they can interact and engage. So LinkedIn came to the picture, and that's where I found my tribe. And the mountain became much more pleasant to climb.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. So my next question, just listening to that, because, being on that journey myself, when you decided, you realized to yourself, when you are in the mediocre situation, you have a lot of friends. When you're doing what is normal, you have
Mm.
a lot of friends, right? And you talk about um, the price of bread in Tesco's, or you talk about people, or you gossip, or you do this. But the minute you then take a stand and said, I'm here to make a difference, I'm going to take on this bold project, I'm going to do this. For some unknown reason, you find yourself one day on your own. It's like, where is everyone? What's happening to everybody? And so, for you to listen to somebody like Monwara that says you're on a mission to make a difference, and here this person come along and said, "Hey, I'm going to climb a mountain. Are you coming with me?" Are you coming? And then you said, wow, I found a tribe. I found a tribe. And then you start to think, there's more people like me out there. Because it's quite easy to feel like you're on your own,
Mm.
in that sense. So I remember when Monwara reached out to me and she said something about leadership, how this whole conversation started. And I made a comment. And being a visionary person that she is, and also seeing possibilities in people and opportunities as well to grow people, she reached out to me and we had a conversation. And she said, well, why don't we do, and why don't we have a conversation? And I think, I hadn't thought about that. All I did was made a comment. But she saw the bigger picture of what's possible and what can
Mm.
happen. And we've been doing this now for a few months. And so many things have come out of this conversation. So, she's very much an encourager. She's very much a person that sees things that other people wouldn't necessarily see and see
Mm.
possibilities in other people. And I'm learning so much from Monwara. So when she reached out to you with this big bold idea and said, hey, I'm fundraising, I'm going to climb mountain, what inspired you to say, yes, I'm going to take myself on and climb the mountain with her?
This is the second mountain we've climbed together. So I'll talk about the first mountain was Benavis, which was a much way bigger monster than this than the one in Austria. And I remember when Monwara put the post out there. I love activity. I love, the challenge. So that was a challenge, and that was a way of kind of also connecting. I agreed, and I straight away reached out because I knew that it's lonely, and she's sharing something that I love. And what am I going to be like? Why not? That's my tribe. Those are my people. The fact that it was even an idea, right? Um, these campaigns. I'm also as president of the educational communities worldwide, where we raise also funds for under-resourced children in Ghana. And here, another one from another part of the world, also raising funds for people, for the single moms in Bangladesh. Why not? Why wouldn't I? So, because I was also in a similar situation, a similar journey of enabling other people under resourced in Ghana, and here we have Bangladesh. I was like, yes, let's do this. So it was a multiple factors. That's my tribe. We're raising funds. I can relate. I know how difficult it is. I know how challenging it is to gather people. Here you are, can you help? Right, let's get together. And not everybody will respond. Sometimes you hear crickets, sometimes they trickle in. It's like nobody's even listening. I know that. I know how it feels. So whenever I see somebody doing an initiative, I know that I've been there. I know I can empathize with that, and I want to be a part of it because I know that not everyone is willing or able to. So there are many factors to answer that question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is also around, the example. I think representation matters. There's something about Manwara as a leader, the thing that she does, that will enable you to think, yeah, well, she's willing to take the risk, right? And if she's willing to take the risk, then I think also it would make me feel like, yeah, I want some of that, in that sense. And as a leader, that's a prime example for those people who are listening. How you show up is important, because then it gives people permission to be who they want to be as well. And that's what I heard in what you said, Manwara is who she is, she's doing what she's doing. The the word I would use to describe that is alignment. You know, there is an alignment in terms of how you think, how you function. And when there is an alignment, it's like having the car. Four wheels are in alignment. You take it to have its MOT, it's in alignment, nothing is out of line, and all of that. And the car just runs smoothly. And then I say to people, if your life is like that, when I coach, everything is in alignment. The people you associate with, your money, your time, your thinking, eventually they will come in line. They might be out of sync at the minute, but eventually they will come in alignment. Alignment is such a powerful word. So, even in the relationship, it's that level of trust, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the experience of what it was like embarking on a mountain, because I can't imagine what it must have been like looking up at that mountain and think, oh my God, how am I going to get up there? I remember being in St. Lucia and they've got these four mountains, and I got there and I thought, I'm not climbing that mountain. I'm not going up there. It's too much work. So everyone went off and I just sat at the mountain and look up, just watching people going up there. And I never attempted it, but I don't regret it because to me it was about making a decision for myself about observing and, see what that's like. Some of us will climb the mountain, some of us will observe it, but it doesn't mean that there is anything wrong. Different people do different things for different reasons, in a sense. I'm very much a person that would observe and think, yeah, how can I write a book about the experience? How can I, use this experience for something else in that sense? So it's not necessarily climbing the mountain for me. It's about looking at what is the possibility or what is it about someone like yourself that would take yourself on and climb a mountain, and that's where my inspiration comes from. So what was that journey like for you, embarking on it, climbing it, reaching the top, and from that experience, what was that like?
Monwara, do you remember?
I think I want to hear your personal
I
experience,
said, do you
Veronica.
remember what happened?
I
We
remember everything. I remember everything. I made notes. I made notes. You know that time when you see me like I'm still in the bed and I've got the phone, I'm making bullet
Mm,
points.
mm.
You tell me how it was for
So,
you, like
oh yes. So
psychologically.
when, of course, yeah. So when I asked, you remember, I remember the gathering in the beginning. So what happened was we prepared. Before you climb any mountain, you got to be prepared. So what happened was, what's her name? Oh, the one who lives in Austria. What's her name?
Catherine.
How could that?
Catherine,
Catherine!
and she might be listening.
Ah! Sorry. My mind just went blank. Catherine, Stella, you know, Kate, you, me, and is it what was her name? You'll get
Rifa.
Rifa. All of us we gathered in a circle at the bottom of the mountain, and the one who had conquered that particular mountain told us what to expect, shared her experience, made it clear what we could possibly experience, and also Monwara bringing us together, made it clear that we're doing this together. But if anybody feels the need to, go a bit faster or go at a different pace, like, we all established that. But, we're going as a team, but sometimes somebody has a quicker pace, right? So they'll go in pairs, for example, and then, they'll navigate ahead and see everything is safe, right? For the others to come. So it was all established. That's what I like about conquering mountains. You have to first know what you're entering. It's in life as well. What are you entering? What to expect? And if you have anybody who's ever been on that path, what have been their experiences and encounters, and what can you expect. So once you have that mindset, you're better prepared. So of course, the excitement, yeah, the energy, we're going, right? Oh, it's not so difficult right now. We're enjoying chatting. The beginning is nice and so refreshing. Yes, we're doing this mountain. Halfway through, some people have already left ahead to navigate. Some of us are resting, some of us are going at our own pace. But essentially, what I like is that we stayed close to each other, and we also went in groups to support each other, to be there, and just know. For me personally, was knowing why I'm climbing that mountain. Benevis and Salzburg. What was the name of the mountain? Well, we conquered many mountains there, two or three. Anyway, in Salzburg, were a bit different. The purpose. Benevis was like, okay, I need to get to the top. I need to conquer this. Yes, this is a monster. Yes. And the mindset, like, if I can do this, I can do anything in life. It was so hard. But that was the purpose. But this one, it was like, I want to enjoy the journey. I just want to relax. I'm not in any rush. I've done this before. I'm not proving anything to myself. I just want to be with the group, with the people, talk, enjoy. So it's so different for everyone. But for me, establishing the beginning, knowing what to expect, knowing why you're climbing that mountain in the first place. Is it just to get to the top? Okay. Or is it to enjoy the journey and embrace the ups and downs and the difficulties and challenges and reflecting on that way? Or is it, what is the purpose? Why are you climbing that mountain? If you're looking at life, what is your mountain and why are you ready to embark on that journey? So understanding that really helps, and expecting it to be rough at certain stages, but understanding that with people around you, it's so much easier. As we support each other, we encourage each other, we're there for each other. So the mountain, as much as you can take it on your own, depending on your capacity, it's nice to have the support, because they are really challenging times, where you have to help somebody up, or you have to reach your hand up and you know support somebody. But for me, it was just enjoying the moment. I was almost at the top. I could see the peak, right? It looked so close, but it was so far. But then I was here, there's this meadow of grass. I just lay there and just looked at the distance. It was just so beautiful. Am I talking too much? I'm just like reliving that moment, Monwara.
Nah, you're not talking too much. You're not.
And I'm like,
Veronica, you really enjoyed those moments. I saw you hugging the trees, and it's like, we're all very different. And I love the way that you've just sort of summarized in some ways the real lessons and the things we learn is the journey itself. And you've conquered big mountains on your own, right? In life in
yeah,
general.
I took a deep sigh,
And that, yeah, big mountains, right? But you were on your own. And I think this is the transition. Often challenge events help people to learn, and that's why I love running these challenge events.
yeah.
Unknown to you, 2 days before Ben Nevis or 3 days before Ben Nevis, a friend who is an expert in mountain climbing, she's taken groups of young people to Japan and other places, right? She does Duke of Edinburgh, said to me, Monwara, Ben Nevis is hard. She said it's rough. And she had done it the week before. And she said, I am older than I used to be, but I don't even know how I got there to the top. And she said it was so hard. And she's an expert like Catherine.
Mm.
So I already knew it was going to be a challenge before I even started the journey. But for me, the challenge itself was the creation of it, the curation, as in making sure everything is coordinated and knowing that there will be so many different people on that journey with different personalities, and we all react differently to challenge or where we're put under pressure
Mm.
or we are at our worst, and we are facing a monster like Ben Nevis. My experience of having taken groups on challenges in the past also gives me an awareness to know that what normally happens is people tend to break and go into smaller groups. And when
Mm.
you are aware and you have done it before and you're experienced, it doesn't give you as much fear. But in the early days, my first ever challenge, I was so scared because I was like, oh my God, something's going to happen and I'm going to get into trouble because I'm the organizer. But like when you know, you kind of roughly know the people you're taking on the challenge, like in each group of two or three, you know how they will operate and they will help and support each other. So I think for me, any mountain climb, um, we've done lots in our lives. Those who have faced the biggest mountains in our lives are the ones that can climb a mountain. And I didn't even get to the top of Ben Nevis. But the lesson I learned on a personal level was I need Catherine on the next one. So I reached out to Catherine as soon as I knew that Austria was going to be the next destination. And she was overjoyed because she wanted to meet everybody.
Yeah.
And it was lovely to have Catherine there because for me, it felt like a safety blanket.
Yes. You got to the top. You conquered it. Like,
Yes, I got to the top, but I leaned on you lots of times because what you taught me at Ben Nevis, what I learned from you was that um, you have ways and good strategies when it comes to self care, which I lack because of my natural trait. When I'm in that role, I'm the chair or I'm in that leadership position. It's all about responsibility. So when I play that role, sometimes I'm not aware that I'm actually putting myself last. And that can be quite dangerous as well, because everybody could just go and I could be left on my own, right? And that won't be no fault of theirs. That will be my own fault because I lost my, completely lost awareness on myself. So that's why I kept saying to you on that climb, Veronica, I need you. I need your help. And you were helping me up every time there was, Lorlett, there were some challenging places. As soon as I got close to the edge, I could feel myself feeling dizzy. And I didn't say anything to anyone, but Catherine knew because she was watching me the whole time. And she noticed things like she would say, Monwara, I noticed you're taking the long route. Why are you taking the long route? The easy one is this. And it's the things that I already know about myself. I've never taken the easy routes because if there's no challenge in what I'm doing, then it's boring for me. And I push myself too hard. And I was looking for, okay, what looks like a flat surface because I know my own fear. And that fear is if I see anything that looks, a little bit tipsy, that's going
yeah.
to like increase my anxiety levels and I need to manage them. So that was like a really, really helpful thing to have you help me through a lot of those difficult uh, times on the journey. And that's very much trusting the process and the journey and learning from it. And at other times, I felt like when Rifa mentioned something, it was like, oh my God, she sounds like me. And like I'm always telling everyone, don't be like me. And then she just reminded me, like, back to where I am, like, okay, we need to get to the top, all of us. And the only person who I see is going to struggle is me. So I need Catherine, I need Veronica to help me get to the top because, in Ben Nevis, I never got to the top. And but if I stopped because I didn't get to the top, what about all my other skill sets and strengths? What a waste.
So
Hmm.
are you okay with not getting to the top, Monroe?
I am, because at leadership level, it's about getting everyone to the top. My success is everybody else's success. If I can get everyone to the top and I don't get there for health reasons or whatever reasons, I'm okay with that. because I'm no spring chicken anymore. Maybe when in my 20s or like 5 years ago when I was maybe 2 stones lighter, it would have been a different story. I got through the rough run somehow through sheer mental strength.
Yeah.
I got through a 5K rough runner. Who would have thought? And that was in 2019. So if I could have done that, maybe 5 years, 10 years before, if I had someone like Catherine, I could have got to the top of Ben Nevis. So I'm sure there was lots of factors: the headache, the maybe the anxiety. I couldn't get to sleep the night before because I kept hearing sounds. My blood pressure was already low due to lack of sleep. So when I got to a certain level, the headaches and anxiety wasn't just about fear. Real- it was real health issues. Because if I'd
Listen,
stayed on
listen
that,
to, listen to
it,
your body. Listen to, and what
yeah.
I'm hearing there is awareness. Is understanding. What I learned from the experience of we was in St. Lucia, and the party decided to climb the mountain, and I didn't. What I really got present to, because for years I challenged myself and beat myself up in the sense of why didn't you climb the mountain with everyone else? And what I really, it's like this voice one day said to me, you're somebody that holds spaces. You're quite happy to hold those spaces. So while those people were up there, you were down there holding the space for them to go and do what they want to do. And I really got, to me, it's the parenting, it's the nurturing, it's that skill of mine, which, go off and fly and do whatever you want to do. And I'm here, you can always come back. So I keep the community going, I keep the space going. So you can go away, do whatever you want to do, go and mess up, and then come back. I'll always be here. And that really inspired me to say, you know what? We're all different. You don't have to climb the mountain. Hold the space for other people. As leaders, we all have different skills, different capacity, different way of being, and understanding that. And just imagine that when they come off the mountain, there was water for them, to make sure that, there was high school water and everything that they needed. So yeah, sometimes we have to understand the parts and the roles that we play. And there is a saying, it's not about the person that you put in there, it's the role. So when you create anything, it's understanding. It's not just putting somebody in the leadership role. It's the role. The role will always be there. And then you have to find the person to fit that role in that sense. But with leadership, what happens is so many people, you give them a role because you know their mother, you know their father, you know their brothers or whatever it is, but they're not the right person for that role, and then they become dysfunctional because there's an expectations that they should operate a particular way, but that role is just not for them, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I would also add that if you do put someone in, and I've done this lots of times, where and leadership development requires this. If you want to help someone grow into their leadership role, you give them the role, but you make sure you put them with other skills around them. So you give them a team where there are other skill sets that will complement theirs.
Mm.
And that makes a big difference because I've seen people who are visionary, but there is that gap. They can never get to the point of that higher level because they're ideas person. So they will always have ideas. However, the trouble that they will have to get any further is that they also need that strategic, and they may not have that. But if you design a team and you make sure that that team has a complement of everything, you will help that person flourish to the next level. Because most people, what they're doing in the leadership space for years, long before maybe even when I was doing it. I mean, with me, I didn't go through traditional training. I just did. I learned through doing. I just took roles and I learned, and that's how I grew. But for a long time, what people do is try and fulfill that responsibility until they get to the top, and then it's like, okay, let's put my hands down now. Like I don't have to do anything, feet up, and everyone makes coffee for me. And you know, and that I feel like is the race in leadership, or has been up until now. But what the next generation are telling us is we want people that are visible. We want people whose words and their actions align. We want people who will, be prepared to say, I'll be in the firing line, you know, and whatever happens, I'm there to take care of you. You guys do whatever. And I've found that the teams I work with, they are more than willing. And I learned the hard way. I think I mentioned this at the last Saturday is I learned to enable others to serve me because I didn't know how to.
Mm.
When I started to allow others to serve me, I found it easier to grow myself and grow teams around me. So for me, it's about succession. When I organize these mountain climbs, I am saying this is possible, let's do it, I'll show you, right? And then if in a year or two I'm not doing, other people will pick up the baton and continue. So, Rifa is 20 odd years younger than me. She really loved the whole experience. She got to learn about people. And for me, one of the key tips for anyone listening, I guess, is that I feel I learned more about me and I continue to learn more about me when I understand people. So the more I delve and the more I learn about you guys, both you ladies, the more I learn about me.
That's true because I mean, as they say, you're me and I'm you, and you're a mirror. So
Mhm.
when I look at you, I see a reflection of myself. And that's why, they say anything you have in your life, it's you keep it there. Whatever is going on in your life, it's you keep it. Whatever you tolerate, it's you that keeping it there. And, because you're looking at that person over there and you continue to see things that you probably like or things that you dislike, but for whatever reason, we keep it. So over back to you, Veronica, around how do you allow other people to take care of you? Because I think it's something that I'm learning. It's something that I'm learning. How do you allow other people to take care of you? Because I think, yeah, we can climb that mountain and, we can be the trailblazer. But I saw a post on LinkedIn. I think it's Claudine Reed when she talks. I think they've been married for 25 or 26 years or something. And she said, what she love about her husband, when she come home, she sits on the stairs and he will take her shoes off, you know. And I'm thinking, wow, he automatically know to do that. She come home or when she's going on about a subject or something that happens, he doesn't say a word. He just sits there and let her rant and rant and rant, and at the end of it all, he said, "What was that like?"
No.
And I'm thinking, yeah, I want some of that. I want some of that, I want somebody to take care of me in a sense. Yeah, let me talk as much as I want to talk. Let me speak. You don't necessarily have to say anything. Understand that all I want to do is just get it off my chest. So yeah, see, over to you, Veronica. How are you allowing somebody else to take care of you?
I take a deep breath because my story is a bit different. So I come from a teaching background, and so I was never really in corporate officially, right? Where you have the teams and you're the manager or you're whatever ladder you have to climb. But I've always been I've always had a teacher's spirit, and then we diverted into the entrepreneurial world back in the days, and we run two companies, a web development branding agency and then an import export company back in the days. In that era, I learned a lot about what it meant to lead a team, and I saw where my flaws were and where my strengths were, and I learned a lot. And then when I became a coach, in retrospect, looking back, I could see how much I had to grow into who I am today. Who I am today is self-employed. So I work for myself. I'm my own boss. Um, if I have something which is excess, I will delegate it and get a graphic designer or somebody to do something. But I am self-employed. I'm a single mom of two. There's really no one to take care of me, to be honest, in that sense. That's why I take care of myself a lot, and that's why self-care is my priority. Health-wise, my body, my mind, my spirit. I don't take more on my plate than I need. I'm very intentional about what the work I do and who I work with because I don't want to stress myself out. I don't want to pressurize myself. So I make sure I love what I do so that it doesn't even feel, that I'm working because it comes so naturally. I function from my zone of genius. And it was a journey, of course, into discovering what that was. So today, my kids take care of me. Like 10 and
Brilliant.
7 year old. If you're looking at my personal life, because I don't have anyone to take care of me like that. Somebody who's gonna come into you, take up your shoes, and do that. No. So
You will
I
come,
make sure I
Veronica.
take care of
You
myself.
will come. Put it out there. It's called
Oh, of
declaration.
course,
It's
that
called, it's
that
called
of course,
declaration.
I have no
Declare it.
doubt.
Declare it.
Listen,
Somebody,
I know that
somebody.
there is a 0.01% of anybody that's out there for me because I'm very, very particular. But that of course will come when it's supposed to come. I'm not in any searching mode or
Yeah,
anything
and
like that. But
it's practicing, and it's a good place where we're gonna end because it's practicing.
yes,
Sometimes it's about recognizing as well that we can be really courageous, self-sufficient in so many different ways, and the person, whether it's personal or professional, wanting to support and being present to the sheer fact that that person wants to give us support as well. Because, we can get so used to taking care of ourselves, because I know for me sometimes, I'm walking along and somebody said to me, "Can I help you with the bag?" And I automatically say,
oh
"Oh, no,
yeah,
no, 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 it's all right."
I know, right?
Okay.
But as a single mom of two, I have had to create a support system
Mm.
because it's really a challenge. So, of course, I've got my sister around who lives also in Manchester, who's a support. Whenever I have to travel to London or have a conference to attend or I have to go to Austria, you know, the kid's dad is also there when he has them. So I have a friend who my daughter is best friends with. I know that in she's a kind of like plan B. I've had to really be very intentional about creating that support system when it comes to childcare, for example. Because if I talk about self-care and my personal self, but when it comes to functioning because of my kids and doing also what I do, because nobody supports me financially, I'm my own breadwinner, so I have to, do what I need to do. So I
Mm.
have created a support system. So I think, especially any single mom out there, and I know it's a struggle. I really, it's not easy, but you can be very intentional about creating that support system because you need it to do things. Because yeah,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
can be challenging.
there is even further we could go into around self-care, around economic power, in
Mm,
so many ways. I mean, we're coming to the end, but even then, I say to people who I coach, how do you take care of yourself in terms of profits? Because you
yeah,
need to understand. I mean, that's a big conversation, for many of us, especially women. How do we
yeah,
take care of ourselves financially?
yeah,
Self-care as well. It's a big one. People think being a self-employed person, there's so many different aspects within that remit, that realm,
yep,
and how you take
very
care of
true.
yourself. It's powerful. Manora, before we complete, can I hand over to you so you can add what you want to add to the conversation in terms of Veronica? I love the idea around self care. How do you take care of yourself? It's a very powerful question. And I know Manwara is working on that one.
It is a powerful question, and you never stop working on that if we are mission driven. And I think all three of us are mission driven. Veronica, I'm going to throw that question, the last question, because I've been burning to ask you that is in your role as chair of Edu Action, how do you enable your team members to serve you? Or have you thought
Mm.
about it?
Yeah. So, EduCom, Educational Communities Worldwide, has been a great part of my journey. I became board member first, led a few, projects before becoming president. I see myself there as a team, part of the team. I don't feel I'm elevated in any way. I'm always kind of around the people. I'm a people person in that sense. So when we're doing projects and things like that, we're always in it together. We have a team in Ghana, for example. So when there's something to be delegated, we have Joseph, who's the COO, and he's so much an on a hands person. So he does a lot of the organization, a lot of the preparation. When we're going to do the trips, I don't prepare anything. He's there. We have some other team members back home in Ghana when we're doing the teachers training. They sorted pretty much everything, and we came when it was all prepared in the sense of, organizing the schools, organizing the location. So yes, having a team. I don't see that serving me as such, but certainly when we all play our roles and we have people with different skills and different kind of responsibilities within that, everybody knows what they're doing, then there's an alignment where the car runs smoothly because the wheels are running, right? There's an alignment there. The engine is input, this fuel, the filter's clean, everything. So I see it as that. So I see the whole educational companies worldwide as that car where everyone has a role. Everybody has your responsibility. So when you ask the question, how are they serving me? I kind of like I don't know if it's a limiting belief somewhere. I get a bit uncomfortable, like serving me. Like, oh, I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure.
I don't know whether I label it as a limiting belief, but it's very common, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe not.
We want to serve all the
Yes,
time.
we're the givers.
Yeah,
I'm
we want to.
serving.
Yeah, but I think I guarantee you they want to serve you, but they don't know how to.
Mm,
So,
Yeah.
so like I think in your role, because sometimes, when you are in the chair's role, it's not about elevating you. It's about, okay, when the going gets tough, I need to be in the firing line, which is fine. You take the bullets, right? And because of that, everybody else around you wants to make it easy for you. And so this is where my most recent roles that I've said yes to in the last year since 2024 is the year I turned 50. So all the roles I've taken, new roles, I have asked, I have said, one of my questions has been, what support will you give me? And the response has been, what support do you need?
you need.
Mm.
And it was quite challenging for me to figure it out, but I did.
Mm,
And I asked and I received. And I continue to receive because, and the more I receive, the more I realize, okay, that's also me creating opportunities
mm,
because you're enabling people to serve you. And if you want everybody on the team to feel like they're making a valuable contribution, you have to enable them to serve you somehow. So I think I'm just sharing this because I feel like it's sometimes very helpful to turn things around because our natural way of doing, the mothers of this earth is, like serving everybody. But I think in
mm,
all of that, we may forget sometimes that others also want to do the same. And if we can enable that, it just binds the team much more stronger, just like our tribe is binding. And I can tell you, for listeners listening who haven't connected yet, REFA is looking into organizing a networking event for all our connections. Anybody who considers to be a part of our tribe, we are going to organize an event in November, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I think the connection is needed, and that's where it all started, Lola. I'm going to end here because we started this conversation months ago with me putting out a post around connections, and
Yeah,
you responded, and I said, "How about we connect and collaborate?" And
definitely,
it's been
definitely.
so nice, Veronica, you spilling your heart out and being honest and open, and I think in a lot of ways vulnerable as well. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're most
Yeah,
welcome.
for me, leadership is everything, as we said at the beginning of the conversations, because once you start to recognize who you are as a leader, and how you show up and how you serve and the difference you make and become aware. I know I'm very much a leader that holds space, that
Mm.
allow people to fly. You know, I feel a lot better when I'm all in those spaces. So my clients come to me and they know they can call me at any time and have the conversation with me around what's missing for them at that moment. We have the conversation and then they go on again and do what they have to do. Part of my coaching, I used to get really upset that, I'd coach my clients and I never heard from them. And then one day I was having a conversation with my clients and, he looked at me and he said, "Well, Lorlett, you know your job is to coach yourself out of a job." And
Absolutely.
and I was, okay, I got it. You develop them so well that, they're gonna for do what they need to do. So yeah, it's always understanding and discover who you are as a person, as a coach, and as a leader. So thank you very much, Veronica, for coming. Always an
Thank
inspiration.
you.
I love your dancing. I'm always looking at you and I think, where did she get the energy from? What's going So yeah, thank you. And over to Monwara, I'll see you next week and over to you, Monwara, to end it.
Yes, Veronica, you want to say anything before we say goodbye?
Oh, I think we've said it all. Thank you so much. These conversations must keep on going.
Thank you. We'll love to have you back another time.
Sure.
But it's leadership is everything. So
Yes.
can't say that it will be focused on one thing. The mountain climb and moving forward, I think it's all about growth and learning. And we're on this journey together, right?
Yes, we are.
So so here we are. Thank you everyone for listening. And thank you to our lovely guests, Veronica and Lorlett. Always inspired, always motivated, always mentally energetic to keep moving. Till the next time. See you next Saturday. Bye.
Thank you.